Yeah, we probably should say something about, you're deferred because we were married, but then uh, they were started taking married couples, the fellow from the married couples, and then by that time, Fern mom was pregnant with Diana, and at about what 5 months or so, we lost Diana, and she's buried there at the White Salmon graveyard there,
Cemetery.
cemetery. Um, anyway, we didn't say anything about her being us losing her. So then they called me one day and found out that we that lost her, and so they said, "Well, you didn't tell us, so we're going to have to call you up." Well, so come on down. And it gave me a date that I had to go down and report. So I went down to Portland and then uh, took my physical all the way through the physical. And by the time we had uh, David was born, and we had another one. But they said, well, that doesn't make any difference. You didn't tell us about Diana, so we're going to draft you anyway. And so I got clear the
Physical.
through the physical, and dropped the last paper that I made out onto the sergeant's desk there. And he looked at it and he says, "Oh," he says, "you got a kid?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, we're not taking anybody with kids now. Go on home." So I left and went home, and
Waving.
it, I called mom and she came down and picked me up. And you have something you want to say now about it?
No, I just said you're waving your arms.
Anyway, that's as close as I got to being drafted. And then from there on, we worked at Crake's Lumber Company there on the river. I had a job. They took me back, and I worked there for several more years. And the sawyer was paid by the thousand, and the rest of the guys were paid by
Oh,
the
hour.
hour, and
By the 1,000 foot or yard?
1,000 foot per. In lumber, you go by the thousand each, or portion of thousands when you buy lumber or in volume.
Do you remember how much you got paid per thousand when you started?
Well, I didn't get paid per thousand. I got paid by hour. I
Oh,
got a dollar 50 cents an hour when I first started, and they started me on the cant pile and on the it was a tie mill, and also they made 2x4s. So the first day out of school, or first week, I thought I was going to die because I was not used to working like that. Some of the 4-inch cants were 4 foot wide too, 4 inches thick and 4 foot wide. So you had to pull them out and stack them. And of course the ties were 7 by 9 by 8 foot long, and you we had to stack those too. But anyway, I finally got through that first week, and then after that it got better and better and better. And the edgerman uh, quit, and so they put me up on the edger, off bearing and the edger. So I did that for a year or so, and like I said, the sawyer was paid by the hour, by the thousand, so he was just barreling those things through there as fast as he could pour it on. I could take everything he'd give me, but when I put the 2-inch cants through the edger, oh, poor old Walt Bundy was trying to stack off of the 2x4 edger, and he would get so swamped that we'd start yelling for for the Sawyer to quit, and and this one time he would not quit. He'd look at me out of the corner of his eye, and then he would turn the other way, and then he would just keep on running it. So uh, I was actually, I would probably never ever do this again. But when I was a kid, uh, just out of school, well, I wasn't thinking like I should have probably, and so I just opened up the rolls and let everything go down the um, in the conveyor and up into the burn stack, and pretty soon I saw the foreman coming running down and shut off the conveyor, and that night I got my walking papers. So anyway, that was probably providential, because then from there on, I went back to college, and that was probably the only reason why I went back to college. Actually, there was a space between that and college. I worked out in a little Jippo mill out in the woods, and we would take old logs, and the cat would bring them into the little mill, and the cat driver drug a huge log in, and we had to try to get it on the carriage to saw it. And we were all out there with peavies trying to get it on there, and I was pushing and pulling as hard as I could, and something snapped in my back, and so I couldn't straighten up. I went to the doctor, and he put a cast on me, a body cast, and I wore that for, I don't know, several months, and then they sent me into Portland and did a bunch of testing and stuff, and I got 10% disablement on that. I don't remember what the settlement was that they gave us. But anyway, from there on, I went probably because of that, I went back to college. And you've got something you would like to say now?
Well, no, I wasn't prepared.
I mean, as Dad was, beginning his career, what year would this have been? 52, 51
No,
still?
it would be 54, because David was born. He was actually,
David was 2 when we
yeah,
moved
it
up
was
there.
actually about 55.
So
Yeah.
55. So as Dad is beginning his work career, what's happening with you, Mom?
Well,
Oh, pausing.
Oh,